Hello and welcome back to We Prepare and some of the tools we've been working on. We'll join here with the SitRep Toolkit, another video on kind of how to close out the evening or your operational period, whatever time you have that set. Kind of put that set of products to bed, publish them if you will, and then get ready for the next day. And so as a reminder, hopefully you set up some of this early on when you came in here to data entry on the first operational period and put in what is going on. Some of that populates over here to our data collection plan, which again helps sort of signal when we are doing certain things, right? When we're putting out talking points or the placemat, how many copies we print, what size, etc. But when we're ready to kind of close out the evening, what we're going to do is come to the products we want to publish. And so let's say that this senior leadership brief, right, the placemat. And as a reminder, we do have two of them, one with trends and one with sort of a snapshot in time. You can do either one or both. What we're going to do though, we'll just say it's this one for the evening. We'll go ahead and double check that it's kind of printing the way we think it is. It's got the stuff where it goes. And then we can set it to 11 by 17, which it should default there. Either print it right to the printer or probably better yet, make it a PDF. And so we'll go to save as PDF, make sure we're set up on there. And then our recommendation would be that you'll name these in some consistent fashion. You can use whatever naming convention you like, but we try to do with what it is, right? So senior official lace mat, and then we'll put an underscore on there. Let's say it is 8/2022 08/31 for the date. The time is 20:38 hours, and we print these on 11 by 17. We also then, if you want, could put in how many copies, and so let's say 10 copies, and we'll hit save, right? That allows us to do a couple of things. We can either send them now, attach that somewhere to an email or whatnot, or certainly just archive it in some kind of folder structure that you have going on, and you're good to go with that particular document. You would go through these things and sort of do the same, whatever documents you think you're going to use. So talking points, maybe print that, similar kind of naming convention, perhaps briefing agenda, briefing packet, and briefing would be the main ones, right? With the briefing in particular, it is comes out as a PowerPoint kind of style presentation. And so it takes a minute. There's a lot of images that are being pulled in from a variety of spots, but similar to the last, we'll save it as a PDF with the naming conventions right. We can then make sure it's ready to go for the morning whenever our briefing is. If we notice items that aren't coming in right, we can then sanity check them and whatnot quickly before we put it to bed, but then save this in a place that you're going to have it ready to go. You can see there's a little pagination problem here. And if that's the case, we'll try and clean that up before we get it out there. But if you turn on these page breaks, right, you can then kind of scroll through, and if you see something because we pulled in too much data somewhere and it bumped this down a little bit, where were we? Somewhere down here where we got off. Yeah, right here. You can just grab these little dashed lines, slide it down, and then hit confirm breaks, right? And we are back kind of where we were a minute ago. But you can see we would put these to bed, save them, get them queued up on the flash drive, the hard drive, the desktop, whatever, in the kind of archived folder. If you're doing QR scans, this would be the time to put that into that QR folder. And you can see we're back lined up with what we were talking about. Once you've got kind of whatever prints you need, these one-offs could be included. You certainly wouldn't need to. All the data kind of comes through elsewhere. And again, you can see how we can change them up a little bit if need be. If you got a request for some of these, you're good to go there. Once you've kind of printed what you're going to print and all of that sort of stuff, what we're going to do is come back here to our trends over time data. And this is kind of our current status. And so we'll just go ahead and click the first one, Shift Control, and that will just hold down the arrow until it goes to the bottom. On the single jurisdiction version, we only have about 64 rows, but on the multiple jurisdiction, that line is pretty significantly deep, and again, then feeds a variety of charts and graphs. Once we have the data highlighted from today, though, we'll just hit copy, and we'll come over to whatever day it is. Let's say it's Monday the 18th. I'll just go ahead and right click, and then we're going to come to paste special. And I'm just going to put values only because we don't want to bring any of the formatting. We don't want to overwrite the formatting or any of that. Once we get that in there, you can see how our spark line adjusts. And the conditional formatting is running off of the columns here, right? So we can, again, see some trends over time. Once you sort of have that pasted in there, right, all of our stuff updates. Some of this stuff's going on. As a reminder with these, right, if you wanted to forecast out, glide paths or whatever, you can put in a function, right? So let's say we think these will all go up. We're on the increase. All these will go up by, let's say, 10%, right? So we select that one. We select it again, times 0.1 for 10% increase, or negative 0.1 or whatever from kind of a forecasting standpoint. And I just hit enter. From there, again, similar, right? Copy, but in this case, and we just want to model this out. Let's just say we're going to model it through all of them. Paste special in this case, we'll hit formula only, and that'll bring that in. And again, you'll start to get some modeling data going if you're trying to, again, get sort of a glide slope figured out of what you're anticipating, or to answer some questions on burn rates or potential final forecasts or whatever the case, right? Certainly, though, as you move forward, kind of budget your forecast that you maybe modeled. As the days go by, you'll want to, again, copy and paste that to, again, be the actual as we move forward. Once you've got that all sort of done, our recommendation would be come up to File, make a copy, and we'll just go SitRep Toolkit, final version, and put on the date. And again, what you want to try to do is leave folks on the working version so you don't have to send out new links or folks aren't updating old links. So you're essentially archiving yesterday's, if you will, right? And so we'll just put in 2022, 8/31, and we're saving this copy in time. You can select where you would like it to go. It can go kind of anywhere around your Google architecture, right? You can pick and choose. If you want to keep it kind of shared with the same people so they can go back and look at archives, you can. Recommendation would probably not to do that, right? Because you don't want folks getting confused with what links. This is really a documentation feature. But we do probably want to copy in comments because that's where all the instructions and everything else come into play. So we've got it lined up where we need it to go. We hit make a copy. It will think for a minute, and you'll have that thing sort of ginned up and ready to go. And tomorrow or throughout the night, if you're running 24-hour type operations, you just keep updating this one, right? And folks know that at whatever published time you've presented on your various documents, right? As a reminder, things like that, right? You can put on your updates at the front in the data entry, and they pop out back here, right? Things like SitReps published at, right? So at 2001 minutes, this is published and we're closing it out. And now if folks are making edits, they're going to go on tomorrow's SitRep or whatnot, unless they begin message with you earlier or whatever the case may be. But now that we've created that, again, archived version, right, we know where it is, we're good to go. We can then just close out that tab. And then ultimately in that folder, you'll now see a series of documents that are the kind of Sheets version. And then hopefully, again, perhaps in that same file architecture, you may have the PDF versions of those prints you made. And so you kind of build a running library as we're moving through what we're doing. We'll kind of wrap this one up. This video that we just talked through is on the single jurisdiction, but it applies exactly the same to the multi-jurisdiction version. And we will talk in upcoming videos about how we kind of, again, integrate the single jurisdiction into the multi-jurisdiction video, and we will go from there. As always, do reach out if you have questions, comments, feedback. Happy to take any of that into consideration and hopefully improve the toolkits, as well as if you have other ideas on new toolkits you'd like to see. We're always open for helping build those things out. As always, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here at We Prepare. Hopefully, our tools are making your job easier as you go forward as an emergency manager or as a staff member, team member in the emergency operations centers out there. So, with all that said, as always, be safe and happy trails. Take care. Thanks.